There we go. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Even Worse Haircut Than Before. Anyway, I believe in the last episode we were having a very nice time with Slavia, and somehow we ended up here after a bunch of whining to Yulia and being lost in the thought of our own voice, and now this, whatever it is, just foreshadowing for other routes, I'm not sure. This is where we left off. It's not a nice bit to end off on, but it's certainly, you have to get through it, I suppose. We've still got another whole day of camp. Anyway, let's just jump right in. I stood in the doorway of the office of the warden of the former camp, the former temple, the former cat house, the former. On this door, only the design had changed, but the surname had remained the same for more than 500 years. The surname of the man who so diligently guarded that terrible secret of this place that he unwillingly brought it to the attention of the powers that be. Great, so this place is terrible. This place has a dark secret. Never seen that one before. And special forces were brought into the Russian Federation. Back to Russia, are we? Technocratic Russia, clearly. Scorched, dead earth. Wildly lived a shitload of years as a secret keeper. And 9 grams of lead that were delivered to the soft tissue and splattered the cheerful lilac wallpaper with the grayish contents of a skull box. I'm sure I'm going to get more context in the other routes about this, but right now, I'm not going to listen and I don't really care. There was never any logic in the actions of those who held the defenses here. Nor was there any logic in the actions of those trying to seize this piece of territory. It's fucking, what is this? I'm pretty sure I said this the last time we got a flashback like this, or flash forward. But what is this, the Great Trial, or what are we doing? Why is there like this stupid ass civil war in the Russian Federation? This ain't TNO. The natural psi generator couldn't be used as a weapon or a means of control. Trying to use it in any way that would be akin to trying to make yourself a cudgel out of a uranium rod. Heavy, no doubt. It breaks hands beautifully. But it also hurts its owner far more. At least the unfortunate victims of mechanical trauma don't have to suffer from radiation sickness and metastases. You can't dig it out or transport it in any way, or put it on a mobile platform and so on. It doesn't work that way. I'm gonna complete the task. I squeaked into the tendril of the microphone, not recognizing my own voice. Ripped the headset off my ear and threw it away. I had a job waiting for me. It didn't work last time, it won't work this time. Who knows when promise that your whole life must flash before your eyes if you found yourself on the doorstep of oblivion. Who said that nonsense? What proof has he got? I smoked, the last one, how symbolic. Oh, actually, where did all this idiocy about a lifetime in front of my eyes come from? Did somebody fucking come back from the other side of the world to tell me about the unearthly sensations during the transition? What is this man talking about? But at least I had my own substitute for those sensations. Especially since the end wasn't really that far off. The painkillers barely worked. I had to stop and wait out the flashes of pain every minute. That's very red. Okay, our inseparable trio. Blind man, witch, rogue, smiling for the camera, young, white-toothed, happy. Okay, so now we're in a MMORPG. Amazing. Truly groundbreaking. This mod is surpassing expectations. Rogue was buried by an enemy commando she'd had a melee with for some reason. I chased the witch away myself, thinking the self-destruct mechanisms would work properly, and Blind crawled down the stairs, bleeding from wounds that had already opened for who knows how many times. The graduates were given their diplomas, me in my tactical option uniform, Slavia in the reconnaissance gray-green combo with blue buttonholes, Aliska, well, I think she only joined the special forces because of their black and red dress uniform. Slaviana's dancing on the roof of my Humvee, disheveled, not very hard anymore. Her pride, her long braids, are short, pathetic, but what can you do? You're supposed to fully shave to fit into the side protection. The half-unbuttoned jumpsuit allows you to appreciate the black lace of the bust, and yes, of course, she doesn't usually wear that. Don't care, not important. Close-ups of the 2 rings sealed in amber with a white gold band running lengthwise, one larger, one smaller. We're not allowed to wear metal jewelry. The torque cube is held in the palm of Alisa's hand. She had just returned from her first assignment, and we told her everything from the spot. You should have seen the look on her face. I wish I had taken pictures. A frowning Lena with a guitar parodies Wysotsky, pulling consonants. I did not know how she did it. Uliana smiles from the driver's seat. She's our wheels today. A few faces out of focus. I don't know what kind of terrorist bullshit you're participating, Semyon, but I won't sponsor it. I will not sponsor anti-Soviet behavior. Blatantly. It's so weird, meaningfully bitter to realize that all of our photos together are constantly out of focus. Add a few more faces than it's a normal photo, but just the two of us. You're being naughty, brother. Uliana and Lena are playing Galaga, using the huge blank wall of the hangar as a screen. Slaviana, laughing, jumps on one leg and on a tube 3 centimeters in diameter, usually used as a horizontal bar. And she's standing on it and hopping on one leg. Damn witch. We were separated after the contracts were signed, but immediately after training we were reunited as one unit. Here, the card from the reunion of the Dream Team. Violeta Tsarnovna, staff psychiatrist and theta therapist, unloading Slavia's head after reconnaissance raids, a smoking cigarillo in her left hand, a bundle of EEG suction cups in her right. On the table are her fetish gloves, her face tired and somehow calm, or so. Again, I'm not sponsoring this blatant act of anti-Soviet behavior. Slavia, on Palace Square, holding a slightly soiled blue plush bear. Not a single photo shows her holding a gun, although she has always been an excellent marksman. Here we are racing through a holographic obstacle course, freeze frame, filmed by Elisa. Slavia in a lightweight suit, I'm in a heavy suit as a loser. I was halfway around her, and turning around I took her on my chest, hugged her, lifted her up, pulling her legs off the ground, and she was laughing, her eyes happy and bottomless. Elisa took the picture after the finish line. The decision was hard. It's unbearably hard. You can't close your eyes, shove responsibility onto someone else, or hide in a hole. Because a new squad will be sent to replace a failed mission. And another. Until, like in Normandy, they pile everything in 3 rows of corpses and fill it with soldiers' blood so that it flows in rivers. Not a price I was willing to pay. And it wasn't about stupid duty either. It's just that I grew up here, and so did my girls. We had a fleeting chance, but everyone else will have an even smaller one. It took some agonizing before the rest of the life support energy went into the servos in my right hand and allowed me to turn a few valves. I won't even go into the tunnels themselves. The number of robots... Yeah, I'm not even going to try. Robot sentinels per square meter was off the charts here. We lost Lena when she went out to cyber scout the area and looked out of the corner unluckily. The laser beam sliced her with a straw before I could say mommy. So, my bet is on Sylph. Yeah, and on the surprise that Sanich's mentor left behind. I slammed my fist into the flat disc and threw it into the ground. The crafty machine spun, rustled, and gnawed into the soil, instantly disappearing. All that was left was to wait. And hope that my foolish calculation will come true. In the augmented reality glasses, a picture of plowed soil flickered at the edge of my vision, transmitted directly from the mole. I have no idea why I brought it with me. But now, sitting in darkness, only disturbed by a tiny screen and scarlet flashes of pain, was all I had. And whenever, even from my seat, I could already hear the smell of gas, I steered the mole toward the surface. I didn't have any explosive devices. I couldn't even get a spark. But it turned out just as I'd planned. The scarlet, infinitely even glow of the laser beam came into the frame, the picture was gone. And a few seconds later, the screen showed an inscription, "Signal lost," on top of the white noise. The infernal device reacted as it should. The concentration of gas in the tunnels reached the high point, the right point. The sparks went off. A roaring explosion swept through the tunnels, stopping somewhere at the joints of the drifts to pull the carriers out with the roots, dropping a couple million tons of soil on the tunnel floor. I exhaled and opened my eyes toward the approaching scarlet haze. And I opened my eyes near the administration building. Hadin, whoever that is, was blaring overhead from the from the loudspeaker. No Tsoi, of course. How did I get here? I wondered faintly. Are you awake at last? Inner voice grumpily inquired. Have I been sleepwalking? Honestly, I always thought stories about people sleepwalking were bullshit. But now, you could say that. For some reason, you went back into the tunnels. You know what? I've kind of given up on criticizing this man's behavior and resigned myself to the fact, yeah, I'm sure there's some combination of mental illnesses that can explain all that. I wouldn't know, because I'm not a psychiatrist. You should ask Violeta that. Didn't get enough exercise yet, Diablo? And then what? Nothing. I had to take you here and put you on a bench. I wanted to be on the beach with Slavia. After digging around in my head, an inner voice gave me a verdict. Your dream is not a subconscious joke of anything. It's very much like an outside tip-off. Pardon? It feels like it was simply put in your head. Similar to yesterday's, by the way. Other people's dreams didn't bother me as much as the fact that I managed to get up and get dressed in my sleep and go to no one knows where. I wouldn't worry about it, Semyon. It doesn't sound prophetic, and if it is, then I'm gonna be very mad. The only thing that bothered me so much was the fact that I sometimes babbled in my sleep. Praise be to random, I sleep alone now and no one cares about my nocturnal revelations. It's always scary to lose control of your own body or mind. You're saying... But I should have taken care of the business at hand as well. I glanced at the clock. 11 o'clock. I think I've hopelessly overslept breakfast. God, I hate you so much, Semyon. Or, I hate what happens to you. That's a better way of putting it, I think. I hate what happens to you. But maybe I can intercept Slavia and get something to eat from her. We're kind of a couple now. What if she has something for a young man? Something like food? If you ever played World WC3, just remember how ghouls sound. I don't, and I don't. So, no, I don't. I got a good look at her on the way up. She was hurtling along, and her face was confused and a little scared. Slavia! I pulled myself up and waved to her. When she saw me, she nodded and ran toward me. Some fucked up shit happened in the meantime. Semyon! Phew! She exhaled. Where did you go? I've been looking for you all morning. Why? Is it okay that I don't know where my boyfriend is? Slavia answered with a question. I'm coming to your cabin to pick you up and hug you, but you're not there. And Olga Dmitrievna says you got up early, even before her briefing, and mothered that you went to live up. Left. Went to live up too? I was thinking about the images from my dream. I wasn't going to conform to anything, at least not yesterday. Honestly, I confessed. Yes, I already realized you're lazy. Slavia smiled. That's why I was going to push you to exercise. So now you're going to push me in the morning and make me sandwiches for breakfast? It's not like I was sarcasm, but... Dry eating is bad for you. I can make you porridge better. I know how. I've just been almost openly invited to live together. Isn't that nice? And you haven't even held hands yet. Your sarcasm is misplaced. Especially on an empty stomach, I wouldn't understand it. So where have you been? Oh, I'm getting a jealousy scene. It's adorable. Semyon, don't be silly. Okay, I'm sorry. I was just taking a nap. And I didn't see you at breakfast either. Hungry? You ask. I am what I yarn. Yam. Nein, ich spreche kein... Nein, ich spreche kein Deutsch. Missed it seems. And the time is late. I guess it's silly to count on buns and kefir. No, Jesus. No, but we'll find something in the kitchen. Let's go. Once again, she's saving our lives. We made it to the canteen. Well, how do I say this? We even managed to stand on the first step of the porch before another insurmountable obstacle appeared. Semyon! It's that fucking kid. What does he want from us? Why does everybody want something from the great Personov? Behind me stood the pioneer I'd carried on my hump yesterday, a curly-haired young man with sly eyes that made him look like a big trickster. Meiluliana is basically what this is. Now, however, he was in no mood for jokes. He was all wrinkled and anxious. Apparently something serious did happen. What? I asked. Something wrong with your leg? He mechanically threw a glance at his leg where a band-aid had been applied across the ankle and shook his head in the negative. Slavia turned around. Violetta's calling you to the infirmary. Something happened. What? Unabashedly, I asked. Actually, I was on my way to eat. It can wait, Slavia answered in my tone. We'll eat later, okay? If the doctor's calling us, it must be serious, I guess. But I want to eat. I'm hungry. Yes, she asked me to find you and call you to her, repeated Danya, impatiently stepping over in place. I wonder why our kindest doctor might need me, an ordinary young man, in every sense of the word. Before I could think it over, I was being dragged by the arm. Slavia and Danya showed uncommon unanimity by grabbing me from both sides and dragging me. It was a few hundred meters from the canteen to the infirmary, and we flew it over with a bullet. To be exact, Slavia and Danyechka flew while I counted the irregularities of the landscape with my carcass, feeling like a tin can that conservative American mothers traditionally attach to their honeymoon car. Sanich appeared on the porch, barking something. God, what do these people want from me? And yesterday was so nice too. What's the matter, man? Why you gotta put me through this crap? It seems that Viola really was there. He slammed the door so hard that the windows rattled. What? Are you running to help your nurse, pioneers? He squinted. Does she need help? That's the question. Excuse me? Forget it. He came down from the porch and staggered away. The atmosphere around the infirmary was such that it would have been a good idea to cordon off the whole place with security guards and anti-aircraft guns on the roofs. Boris, if you're going to go again... Violeta, it's Semyon, I responded. Ah, then come in. Daniechka swung the door in front of me and pushing into the room, leaked in after me. In the infirmary, besides our merry company, there was Shurik. Oh god, what about him now? He was sitting on the couch holding a wet towel to his nose. Who beat him, I wonder? Without much interest, I thought. Go back to bed, I'll talk to them myself. Violeta, I can tell you everything. This time it makes sense to use the fucking nasally voice with him. She shook his head negatively, remaining seated. You can't anymore. And don't argue, please. Shurik shook his head negatively, opened his mouth, but Viola raised some palm in front of her, gesturing for him to be quiet. To the isolation ward. With a kind of whistle of hopelessness looking at us, Shurik got up. Bad, you shouldn't have done that. Because of the towel pressed to his nose, his voice was gnarly, and I could hardly make out what he was saying. Some incoherent nonsense. Daniel, you come out too. I'm trying my best. Daniel? Coming. It's just the three of us. I'm not going to beat around the bush, Viola began. I'll tell you right away, Alexander has known mental problems. Boy, did I call it for what? Buddy, I knew it from the first game. I knew it since the first game. That boy ain't right. He can sleepwalk, and apparently so can I. Jesus fucking Christ. Just like you. Shut up. I wonder then if all the visions we're having are his and not ours. I certainly hope so. That would clear up a lot of things. He may have memory lapses, obsessions, violent outbursts. It's a shame. He's a good kid. I like him. At least, I like him better than Electronic. He can never live a full life, and he knows it. Okay, that's pushing it a little, but it is 1989. I guess they don't understand things like that yet. That's why he's so obsessed with his mechanical toys. She fell silent, dropping her hands on her knees. This is all very sad, of course, but why are you telling us this? You see, I was able to do something for him so that he could at least communicate with other teenagers. And we've had a positive trend. But something happened the day before yesterday that caused him to have a collapsing regression. Something there, at his club. It doesn't have to be at the club. Ripped off my tongue before I could bite it. What? What do you mean? Nothing in particular. I mumbled, cursing my own intemperance. Tell me, Pioneer. This has something to do with the old camp, doesn't it? She asked bluntly. But... Semyon, don't keep quiet. Maybe you can help Shurik. As long as they were a united front. You saw it all yourself, remember? Back there in the labyrinth? Well. There's a chain of tunnels, coal mines, and caves under the camp. Clear as a report, Savi responded. In one of these caves there is someone. She was embarrassed, not finding the right term. He's sort of capable of suggestion. Uncertainly, she wiggled her fingers. Suggestion, okay, continue. Yes, thoughts, pictures. Interacting with the psyche, bypassing the senses. I nodded. Maybe your Shurik has been there too. Describe what you saw, Slaviana. Slavia briefly outlined how she'd been indoctrinated with a picture from her childhood with a forest and a path. I still firmly believe it's a gas leak. It's just a gas leak, man. That's how minds work. Sometimes you find a little more than you expected. Love is in the air? Wrong. Carbon monoxide. Violetta nodded, jotting down key points, but no longer looking as hopelessly dejected as she had been 10 minutes before. Something seemed to be beginning to come out of her. Can you help him? Nurse sighed. It depends on what you mean by help. He already speaks his own language and lives at a completely different pace. I'm not sure I can get him back to the way he used to be. Thanks anyway. At least now I can figure out what I can do. I hate feeling helpless. Never seen that face from her before. She stood up, letting me know the conversation was over. Well, I wish him the best. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Don't tell anyone about what we just discussed. Yes, Chief. Quietly, we walked away from the infirmary. What the hell is going on here? Slavia whispered. Carbon monoxide is what's going on here, my dear Slavia. Such a good camp, good people, and here we are. I think Shudik will be alright, I said, just to say something. It would be good. And it would be good for the grown-ups to take their grown-up problems and get them out of there. I still have a whole summer of childhood I want to finish. Childhood? If these are the ones I'm thinking of, I'm afraid they won't ask who wants that. Who wants what? Do you know something? No, but you will need. What, a sword clatter, a swag carpet? Strength, you fool. March to feed. Sharing the considerations of the inner voice, I got consent, a cold palm, and a faithful companion. And we went to the canteen. At last! Oh man, you know, sometimes I really feel like I bit off more than I could chew with this fucking mod. But it's fine, don't worry. We're gonna be at episode 200, and only then am I gonna be like, oh, so that's what the visions were about. I'm just saying it now so that I'm not surprised later when it inevitably happens. It was a mess in the canteen. The hungry pioneers had consumed everything. There wasn't even any bread left. It's a nightmare. How do they manage to feed them all? Slavia laughed when she didn't even find any crust on the bread cracker. Now, what to do? Her parents must have visited the day before yesterday. Maybe they even brought something. But the greedy Slavia has mercilessly ruined my dreams of home-cooked food. Let's play Close Camp. She rattled off a bunch of keys. How do you play it? It's simple. We go around the canteen and see what we can feed you. Silly game, but sure, why not? I didn't want to play on an empty stomach at all, but it seemed to me the only way I could get my worms to starve. So I managed to dig up a relatively soft loaf in the back of the country, and I was about to tear myself a piece, but I got a slap on the wrist. Semyon, don't act like a pig, sternly said Slavia to me. And instead of me, she fed the bun to some square, white-sided machine that said AHM. My food! I sorrowfully exclaimed. The machine said, nom, and instead of a loaf, it gave us a pile of soldier-thick slices of buns. It's a bread slicer. Yeah, I mean, it's a bread slicer. What do you want me to say? And, of course, in a big piece, a trophy for the fastest runner, who had time to run into the bread room and shout, Auntie Cook, is there a big piece? I don't even know if it's a good thing that I ended up here as an adult. Maybe 10 or 12 years would have been the best time. To race with Ulyanka, to ravage the old Finnish mill, to climb the attics and throw rubber balls at the Camp Olympics, whoever throws the farthest. Grown-ups have interesting lives, no doubt, but mischief like this almost disappears from it. And if you try to resurrect them, you'll be like the beaver with a flap of curls, framing his bald head, who comes out of the canteen door every morning dressed in his pyre uniform with a tie in his shirt. She sits down at the table next to the pioneers, a grown man, and smiles stupidly as he eats his breakfast. As they say, childhood in one place plays. Slavia was already making chicory in the kitchen, which I kept calling Soviet coffee, out of habit from my childhood. A pot of aluminum rattled on the small stove already. A girl was courting her cavalier. How touching! I wipe away an unwanted tear. No, why? Is it bad? It's fine. You get indigestion from your own instant noodles, and then you look at anyone who's not too lazy to make you semolina like a goddess in the flesh. They say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. But before that, it would be a good idea to marinate him on a bachelor's diet for 7 years. I was about to say something, no doubt a very witty and original thing, but there was a plate of semolina on the table in front of me. Don't tell me you... Yes, I am the Messiah and Prophet. She also has a plate of sandwiches in her kitchen, though without butter. I see. Sniff like a dog, eye like an eagle. Listen, thank you so much. Where did you learn to cook? You try it first. Maybe you won't want to eat at all. Laughed the clearly flattered girl. She went to the kitchen for a second plate. Mine or Chatterbox didn't miss the mark either. These sandwiches really were butter-free. Sorry, it all went to porridge. Hey, this scene, but in daytime. We are just being spoilt with all the images we're getting. She apologizes like she ate the butter herself. Immediately act hurt and tell her you understand, but there's still a residue and the only way to turn it around is to kiss a pure maiden. For a change, I did as the inner voice advised and was rewarded with a laugh and a kiss. The porridge turned out to be more than decent, and I repeated my question. Yeah, you know, she clutched at her braids with embarrassment. I've got a pretty big family, and the boys, you know, they're helpless in some ways. You mean for sustenance? Yes, that's why I had to fill in for my mother sometimes. I've been standing on the stool at the stove since I was 6. And you were allowed that easily? Mother would come home very late from her after-school program and leave very early, and everyone wanted to eat. It's fair to say she had no choice, although I don't like to cook for myself. There's usually an apple or a carrot or two at home, and that's all I need. After looking at her statues, I decided she was a bit of a sourpuss. It takes a lot of stuff to make that kind of muscle work, and apple is hardly enough. Hey man, you respect the grind. You respect the grind. She should eat more, but you respect the grind. Tasty? She nodded at the plate. Well, what was there to say? Very, I said honestly. Can I be your little brother? It suddenly occurred to me that I was asking a frankly stupid question after all. Wouldn't the girl have thought I was trying to push her into a friend zone? If that concept exists here, of course. But she reacted the right way. She didn't have time to say anything, though. We were rudely interrupted. Who dares disturb our presence now? If it isn't Sanyich! Pioneers! Rattling down the bench next to me, Sanish clapped me on the shoulder so hard I nearly parted with the contents of my stomach. At least I wasn't chewing anything. I've been looking all over for you. There was no sadness. It seems that my plans for a languid morning alone with a hottie can confidently be said goodbye. I feel like these plans were never meant to come true. Why not? We bathed together, went for walks, now she's saving me from starving to death for once. Because the time she spends on you, she doesn't spend on her greatest passion. Got the hint? Shit. Accumulating trash and unresolved cases. Unreconciled children, unreconciled miracles, and generally, it's hard to be a god. Good. Let me pat your head. Go away. Yes, Boris Alexandrovich? He took a sip from my cup, wrinkled his nose. How do you drink that garbage? I'd be embarrassed to pour that slop into cups. Were you looking for us to scald my coffee? I asked politely. Huh? He looked again at the cup and finished the contents in a gulp. No, I'm here for another reason. Looking regretfully at the empty vessel, he summed up. Not enough. Alright, to business. I heard you were assigned to caulk the hole on our way to our fire pit, right? I nodded cautiously. I think I'll take care of the hole myself. I've got something to plug it with. Is that so? Yes. And you, in return... You bet your ass I will. Oh, right, okay. Well, there you go. Okay. Sanya strictly forbade us to go down into the tunnels. Our job was simply to lock the door to the old camp. After the briefing, Stanish went off to referee the volleyball match between the camp team and the counselor squad. Slavia, frankly, was far more averse to a little bouncing at the net, too. I'd play volleyball with you, she declared, snuggling up next to me, the width of the path allowed. We can play when we get back to camp if you want. I'd love to, but... Who would have guessed? There's always some but. You haven't forgotten what day it is, have you? I shrugged. Friday, I think? Last day of the shift, Syomushka, remember? Right, so we're expecting a farewell mega supper, a gala concert, a closing disco, and a royal night? Slavia nodded in response to each listed event. Her eyes sparkled. About supper and the night, I honestly wasn't aware of it. Okay. You people need to start avoiding the inevitable and just say it straight up. What's gonna happen afterwards? Tell me, so that I can process it before I get inevitably teary-eyed, she said enthusiastically. How do you keep it all in your head? Don't you want to try being an activist? God forbid. Thanks, but no. And as far as events go, I've been a victim of them all my life. I've already memorized the order a little bit. I was given another strange testing look and then returned to the original topic of conversation. What's there to test now? I already confessed everything I wanted to yesterday. The concert is scheduled for 5 p.m. and we have to get to the venue ready for it. Check the equipment and so on. Help me. She didn't ask and I immediately showed my fangs to the world. And if I don't? Please, come on, Syomushka. I'm sorry for that, by the way. She gave me that look that made me want to fall on my back and scratch my belly. Witch. And I gave up. Alright, whatever you say. Thank you so much, you're a miracle. With a deafening kiss on my chin, she turned, it seemed, into a deafening wall of bushes. Where are you going? Let's go. Transition. Slavia led me down some obscure path, which apparently she didn't just venture into at night. Most likely some rather tangible cut only known to her. I mean, they somehow managed to miss me at night and there was only one road. We walked in silence, staring intently at our feet. And you know what? Before they stared too long, I'm gonna end today's episode. That was a lot of just dreams and random crap that I don't really want to have, but I guess they're useful for other routes that I'm not gonna play anytime soon because, again, this game is long as hell. In any case, I will end off today's episode there, and we'll see you in the next episode of 7 Days of Summer. Thank you for watching.